I can't.
My husband died during COVID, and we've been married for like 48 years. And I'm finding difficulty relating to my two sons. They're very, very different. And it seems to have really impacted my relationship with my daughter-in-laws as well. And it's very painful. Whereas I got on incredibly well with my daughter-in-laws when my husband was alive, it now seems really difficult and really tricky. And I just wonder whether you had any wisdom or reflection on how that. And the other thing is I don't get to see them a lot because they both live some distance from me. And they don't, it's very rare for us all to be together. And then there are grandchildren around as well. So I think I've only seen my sons on their own just after my husband died.
Gosh. I mean, in some ways, that may well be part of the answer, is that, you know, in order for you to have kind of meaningful, loving conversations with your sons, you need time and you need attention and you need their time so they can give you attention. And if they're busy looking after their children, it's a busy thing with their wife, you just get these kind of cups of tea and you, it sounds like you then get left feeling kind of empty because a lot of your needs were fulfilled or met by your husband. And so when you were with your sons and your grandchildren, you could kind of share it and enjoy them together, but they weren't your main source of affection, connection, safety, and feeling good about the world. So I think part of it is that your family system has tilted. And so the whole system is recalibrating, and how you are with each other, what you need from each other, has completely shifted. And I mean, I don't know how your children and your in-laws know about grief, what their knowledge is about grief, but they might be frightened of talking to you about your husband or their dad. They might want to not upset you. They might, you know, everyone's kind of ignorance about grief causes disconnection, and what you're asking for is connection. And so, I mean, I have a couple of ideas that you could try. I mean, honestly, honesty is the thing that helps most. So being truthful. And I don't know how you would frame it exactly, but something about being honest with your sons about that isn't kind of needy and victimy, but acknowledges that you really miss your husband, that you're really grieving, and you would love to spend some time with them on their own, to talk about their dad, to talk about your husband, to have time to have memories together and do something nice together, go to the pub and have lunch together, or go to a cafe. You know, that combination of remembering, going through an album or making an album or listening to music or doing something that connects you to their dad and your husband, and then doing something like going to the pub or a cafe is a really nice thing. And they may see you and get overwhelmed with sort of, because you are their person that they see you and they will automatically miss their dad because you two were a deal together. So they'll miss their dad so much when they see you.
There's one other thing, and that is that my husband gradually lost his sight and he was blind, and I was his carer. That's just in the mix, I think, as well. And I can't understand quite where it fits, but I do know that I didn't expect this extra pain with the grief.
No. I think where that adds in the mix is that it was your job as well as your partner. And so a lot of your day and your time and your focus was being his eyes. And so it's the loss of your relationship, but it's also the loss of your role and your purpose.
Yes, it is, but I wonder whether that is part of the thing with my sons, that I've always seen me as capable and you know, confident and the one that manages everything. And I think it's very hard for them to see me vulnerable and grieving, and very painful for them to see. They don't want me to be like it. And so it's really hard to, they want their own mum back, I think. It's very hard to talk apart from on a fairly superficial level.
And it does sound like you kind of have your own wisdom, that you know that they want their kind of functioning, happy, or mum back. And so it scares them, their dad having died, that scares them seeing you as vulnerable and grieving and really sad and not how you were. But I would say that to them. I've been thinking about, I'd write them a postcard. Postcards are really, I think we lose the art of letter writing, and because it doesn't demand something of them straight away, just a little postcard. Like, I've been thinking about you, and I've been thinking about how we are together. And I was wondering, that because I'm more vulnerable, because I miss Dad so much, that it's harder for you to see me and be together. And of course it's hard for you, and let them have that hardness. You can't take that away. But I wonder what we could do so that we still stay connected, because I really miss you too. So I'd be honest with them.
Yes, they're not much in contact with me, to be honest. It's a WhatsApp message or the text usually, and
so there's a message. Can you all see the chat? So there's Wendy is saying, I totally relate to this, Sue. Very similar situation for me, but one of my children is close, the other distant. The difference between the two is massive. I can relate more to the closer one and struggle to know what to do with the child who lives further away. Thank you for being brave and asking this question today.
Yeah, it's making me cry. It's that kindness.